bread from heaven and to go to Eretz Yisrael, to Israel, and eat their bread from the ground, from earth. That especially in addition to that, they need to descend from their level. So it's a descent for them also. It's not only that they're relating to something lower, but it's also a descent for them in their spiritual status. When they arrive in Eretz Yisrael, it says, that B'Shas they went into Eretz Yisrael, they're commanded that when they will go into Eretz Yisrael, so they will have Shemitah. 6 years they will plant, and 6 years they will work with the fields and the gardens and the vines, and then so the question is, why is it that first it says there's Shemitah, and then it says 6 years and 6 years? The Shemitah usually comes after the 6 year. The Shemitah is the sabbatical year. It comes after the 6 years that came before that, preceded before that. So the question is, why is it that he begins with Shav Sa'aretz? So the Rebbe is saying, because this teaches a personal lesson, and that is an introduction to get involved in worldly matters. The first thing he has to have is a resolution, and the resolution is Shmira Shnas HaShviyah Shabbos L'Hashem. Shahu inyan shel misiras nefesh. It's of self-sacrifice. Why? Because they can't benefit from their field a whole year, and they don't have livelihood from their field because they can't benefit from it. Everything has to be left for all. So therefore, in a sense, it's misiras nefesh. The Shemri Shvi is the ones that fulfill the commandments of the sabbatical year are considered fulfilling his words and adhering to his words, commandments. Mishum shesomem miftocham b'Hashem, because they are putting their trust in Hashem. V'imkein achlota zu inyan shel nisoyen shel inyan shel yerida cholo. This achlota is the inyan of nisoyen, inyan of descent.
What, the nisoyen or the
That's the question.
The working?
That's the question. The question is why. No, it seems like it's the first part, because later the Rebbe continues and says that that's not sufficient, and after that needs to be the working. So the working we can understand; it's worldly matters.
Yeah. But what's wrong with the?
The question is the. It seems like the hachlota is already hakdoma to the descent. It's already the hakdoma. They're coming into land. And Mamela, they have to make achlota before, but achlota alone is not everything. It's just that they're making the achlota.
What is that?
Achlota is a resolution. If it's something that's going to follow, which is not so comfortable for them.
But if, for example, Hashem would give only Shnas Shemitah, Shav Hashem, then wouldn't be a problem with the Meragim, right? The problem was that, the working...
Right, because the working is the main part. The Shemitah alone, fakert. The reason that they're given a sabbatical year is in order they should have more time to sit and learn. The gam ze in a maspik. The word is over, it's mesiras nefesh. That's the word. It's mesiras nefesh, and they were logical. By them, everything was chochma dikdusha. Chochma dikdusha havana vasoge. So when it came to of self-sacrifice, so either way it wasn't good. Earthly matters is not good. On the other hand, mesiras nefesh, chochma dikdusha doesn't understand that. It's logic.
So they were beyond the mesiras nefesh.
Not beyond mesiras nefesh. They didn't want mesiras. They felt that it was an isoyim for them. Although the lashon is yerida, it's the union of a yerida. Vice this mesiras nefesh was. Vice is also the mesiras nefesh was that although they're working 6 years, the 7th year they won't be able to work and benefit from it, which means in a sense once they get into the work, is so to refrain themselves, deprive themselves the 7th year. That alone was a union which was uncomfortable for them. I mean, once they're in it, they're already after 6 years, to ask from him a self-sacrifice that he should not want to benefit the 7th year, so it's also an nisoyen for them. That's why the Rebbe says, "Huinyan shel nisoyen." It's inyan of nisoyen because it's also a trial. After 6 years, a person is involved and is eating from the fruit of the land. All of a sudden, he's told the 7th year, you can't eat from it. And that resolution you have to make right in the beginning of coming into Eretz Yisrael. You come in there, you should know that the 7th year you can benefit from it. So,
Basically, they didn't want to go into Nisoyan.
yeah, Inyan of Nisayan.
Is it possible that they didn't want to go into Israel because they thought it was Moses' decision and not Hashem's decision?
Not Al Pichsidis. Al Pichsidis,
That's what
it's
we're talking
Al
about.
Pichsidis. Al Pichsidis, they were talking about that they wanted to be on a spiritual level. That's through and through, like the Chassidus. It could be somebody else's
They
explanation.
didn't want to deal with earth, this stuff. They wanted to deal only with...
Right, praying, learning and praying. Praying and studying, and that was all. They wanted to remain spiritual. As the Alter Rebbe says in the Likutei Torah, they were on the world of thought, and according to another opinion in Kabbalah, the world of speech, but not deed. And that was something they just didn't want to move up their sleeves and get to work. It wasn't according to their level. They didn't have this 40 years.
Did they know that Hashem was commanding them to go into the land?
Yeah, but that's the tachlis of the Bria. That's the whole tachlis.
Did they know?
They knew they got it. They got it. The tzivuyim and commandments that they just take them into the land. I mean, a few times they got it. In different parshas we see it. Kesavei aloretz, kesavei aloretz. You have it in Parsha Kisava. You have it in Parsha Shelach. You have it Parsha Bahar. You have. I mean, they will know that they're going into Eretz. This was the 40-year trip. V'zeu nisoyan. Okay, then goes the second part, which is literally a descent. That they're working with their fields and vines. Not in a way that someone else is doing it for you. Strangers are doing it for you, but you yourself have to do it. The Yidden alone, the Jewish nation, needed to work with the earth, with the ground. This is a big trial and tribulation. Avedas Adoma means the refinement, refining the sparks of Kedusha. In things that fell into Klipas Nega, which is a Klippa that is considered Parava. It has the potential for Kedusha, but at this point it's not revealed yet. It's like the midpoint between the positive elements and the negative elements. And then goes a lematum mizeh, something that's lower than that, which is completely klipa, negative elements, impure. V'zeu nisayon gadol. This is a big nisayon. V'gam beloshen Rashbi, efsher adam cheresh chulu v'zereya chulu teira matei aleh. He says, how is it possible? A person is plowing and planting, when will he have the inyan of Torah? Which means that is a nisoyan that gets a person involved that he doesn't have a chance to sit and learn. This was the contents of their argument. The intellectual generation, their deya. According to the logic of Kedusha, understanding of Kedusha, sacred, of holiness, and V'deya de Kedusha, understanding it with a intuition. So there's a place for an argument that they don't want to get involved, they don't want to go into. In other words, that they had a certain significant logical argument, they don't want to put themselves in a trial. Ubeloshen hatfila v'altvienu chulu v'leila de nesoyen v'hainu sheleirotzu lahachnas asm lamakim sofi. They didn't want to be put in a doubtful area, a gray area, which they had no idea what this will accomplish with them. Ki af sheleyidach memeno nidach. Although,
Isn't that the halacha though? Not supposed to put yourself in the Messiah.
right, when we say it every morning, and that was the story by David. David said the opposite. B'choneni Hashem b'nosun. B'chonuni Hashem. B'choneni Hashem, that the Eibishter should test him. And that's when he fell through. With Bathsheba. But here, the Rebbe is adding another word. Ki av shel yidach memenu nidach. So it's a sure thing he'll do tshuva, because nobody gets lost. But that doesn't mean now. Mikol makim harei yesh safik im zeh yeh begilgul, zeh begilgul achar. It's doubtful if it'll be in this life cycle or a different life cycle. This is what the Rebbe says we can add, what they said, that this is what they said. Sharo Sham, you see, look in the order 38. With the star. You see?